Right now we get to our conversation where we are talking about owning land in Kenya, and joining us is Reuben Kimani, who is the CEO, Username Investments Limited. Thank you so much for joining us on business today.
Thank you, Kevin.
All right, now let's get right into the conversation and look at land ownership in Kenya. And very many people, when they own land, especially when they have a piece of land that they own, maybe they've been left with by their parents, or they've just owned it by maybe inheritance. When you look at it, what should one look at to know if the land is legitimate?
Thank you, Kevin, once again, and business on KTN News, Business Today, the show. I'm glad to be here. Land is an emotive question in Kenya. And I think there are so many challenges down there on the ground relating to land. People are being conned. There are succession issues, inheritance issues. People are fighting over land. But being in this business for the last 10 years, there are so many things we have experienced. I would like to share some of the things that I believe are on the ground, things that can inform someone on how to make decision. Number one, in terms of knowing if the land that you are buying is legit, one of the things that you must do is called due diligence. To the person on the ground, what we mean is that you must find out if the land you're buying is legit. You must, we usually ask people to do land searches in the registry. You have to visit the land in person. You come to a company like ours, Username Investment, you'll find that we ask people to come and do site visit for free to see the land that you are buying. So you have to make a physical visit to the land. You also have to check the maps, because people have bought land. You buy land here, then after you come to see it, you are told it is on tarmac, then you go like 5 kilometers away. You have to check the maps. Basically, you have to do due diligence. And I want to say at this point that most Kenyans are not, they don't have the capacity. If I told you to go to Aldi House today or to the registry, you'll give up because of the sheer challenges that are in that ground. But what we are telling Kenyans, if you're not able to do due diligence yourself, there's a way you can do due diligence using other people. Number one, look for a legitimate company. Companies with a track record. There are companies that have been delivering titles for a long, long time. The rate of failure is very low. You have, if it's a housing development company, these companies that are selling houses, go to the ground and check a few of the projects they have done and see with your own eyes.
All right, before you even continue, let us look at the various land deals that usually go wrong, where you find you've bought land, you've built on the land, and then after some years, the government comes and says, or some entities come and say, okay, this land belonged to a certain person and you have to vacate it, and you've stayed there for almost 20 years plus or 25 years plus. When such a situation happens, is it the same process that someone needs to go through, or what usually happens when it comes to this? And also, in addition to that, when you're looking at land, are we looking at agriculture, if it's land for planting, or if it's land for construction? What are the differences that come between this? So first of all, let us look at the people who are conned. You buy land, you stay on the land for almost 20 years plus, you've built on it, and then now you're told this is not your land. What usually goes into this, and what happens? And then now we'll look at also the differences when it comes to construction and also land for farming.
One of the most surprising things I would like to tell you, once you buy land, what we have been used as Kenyans is to go and do a normal search at the registry. Let me tell you, that search means nothing at the moment. Ideally, it should show you the ownership of the land and the history to give you that boost or that sample of authority that the land is legit. But that is no longer the case. What we usually do, just to answer your question, you can buy land today with the right paperwork. You have done the search, you have involved lawyers, but 10 years down the line, another person comes with another title deed that is equally legit. What is happening in our registries, and I know they have been doing Aldisasa on all those things, we have a lot of dirty records, right? You find that for you to know the land is legit, companies like Username Investment will go so deep We do something like perusing the file, we do parcel file searches, green card searches. We visit the neighbors. We do a lot to dig to find out who was the first owner of the land, who received that land, who bought that land in the second transaction, third transaction. What is happening in the case that you're asking is that somebody bought land, maybe they did only a search, and maybe some fraud has happened, 3 transactions before you bought the land. So you buy the land, maybe the owner is in the US, who had bought long time ago. Then you have built, after 10 years, somebody else comes with the original title. What happened at the point in the transaction, somebody may have fraudulently changed the paperwork. So there's a lot of dirty records, and that's why you are finding some cases that, like the one you have been seeing in the media, maybe those are rogue individuals who are trying to change paperwork right now. But there are cases where after you buy the land, maybe at some point in the past, somebody has changed the paperwork fraudulently. Now you are buying, the title that is coming out now becomes invalid because the original, at some point in the process, someone changed the paperwork. There's a lot of fraud that goes on there. There's also a lot of dirty records. That's why you find that if we are able to, I cannot come here just talk about the problems that you are facing. If we are really able to automate everything, especially where lands records are concerned, I think we'll be able to stamp out most of these problems. Because I understand with computers, I have done computers myself as a degree, it is not possible for you to have, especially if it's well managed, for you to have duplicate records. That's what we have been having, and this problem has been very big. So for companies like us, that's why I'm insisting. My friend, do your due diligence. If you are not able to do it, go to companies, because you have invested in a lot of capacity. Lawyers, I go to meet neighbors myself, where I go check the maps myself. We have surveyors. You may not have that as an individual. If you don't have a company and you are buying maybe land next to where you stay and you're not buying from a company, you have to invest in a good and a conveyancing lawyer who understand the thing. Not all lawyers understand the technicalities, the ground things of where your money can be stolen.
All right. And now let's also look at when you're buying land, or when you want to just invest in land. What is the difference when you're looking at a land for construction and also land for agricultural use?
In terms of if every time you are buying land, let me start from there.
Yes.
Every time you are buying land, you must be coming from you must have an objective. You must have a reason why you are buying land. People buy land majorly to build their own homes. We have seen this in our company for many years.
Yes.
Number 2, they buy it for investment. Number 3, they might buy it for farming. So there are several factors you need to consider, especially when you are buying land. If you are buying land for investment and for immediate settlement, building a home for your family, number 1, location is very important. One of the things that we have successfully been able to do as an organization, and I know some other real estate companies have done so, is that we buy land and create gated communities in places where we believe people can stay, people who are working in the cities. That's why we look like we work with a certain radius in terms of kilometers. Most of our projects, you'll find they are touching tarmac for a good reason, because location is very important. So number 1 is location. Number 2, you also have to factor the amenities. You need to buy a house, or you are buying land. You need to buy in a place that you can access amenities like hospitals. That's why our projects are next to tarmacs. Electricity, water, we put those things in our projects, because most places in this country don't have those amenities. We'll drill boreholes there, those are amenities. You look at the schools, because once you settle there, your kids need to go to a school. You need to check the amenities that are there. I think the other thing that you have to check is in terms of, for those who are investing, one of the most important things, you are investing in land as a vehicle for investment. One of the most important thing is the valuation at the point of purchase. What I mean, if you are buying shares today, the best way to make money is to buy when the shares are being priced the low price. Especially this is a very good time to buy real estate and shares, because the prices are very low, right? When the price go up, you make a huge profit. So you have to check when you are buying real estate, if you are buying at the right price. So you have to invest in checking the valuation reports. You can do a valuation report or follow market trend analysis to find out what is the value of that location at the point you are buying. That is very important for people who invest. For agriculture, of course, you need water for or a place where it rains. Like we have land in Nakuru, and one of the things I know is that for people who are buying land there are people who buy land for farming. Though as a company, we are more specialized into residential properties. But there are those people who come to us purely, I want land for farming. What characteristic should land for farming have? Number one, it should be in a place where it receive adequate rainfall, or in a place where you can be able to drill water. There are places where you go drill a borehole and there's no water to be found. Number two, it has to be in a place where, what are you farming, for example? You need to come with your objectives in mind and your checklist to know why you are buying the land that you are buying.
All right. Even as we wind up, the cost of land, of course, remains high in Kenya. And what can be done to lower the price or even ease access to funds to enable people be able to own land in Kenya, even as we wind up?
Okay, the cost of land has been very high in our country.
Yes.
Because, of course, as Kenyans, we have high appetite to land. It is an emotive issue. Everyone, once you finish college, people want to have land. And it is for a good reason, because of the issue of housing. We have a huge shortage of housing, and everyone, when they finish college or you get a small business, the next thing is to settle your family. Where are you going to do that? You're not going back to the village. And most people, because of urbanization, they are coming to our towns. So one of the things that I believe that can be done, and this has been shared before, is development of satellite towns. What I mean is that if you look at a country like Mexico, what they did in their major city, they did a plan for 80-kilometer radius from the city center. If you do the same, say you do the same for Nairobi, you will identify all the satellite towns that are surrounding the city. What do you do in those satellite towns? You develop the key infrastructure, because when username comes to the ground, we have to drill boreholes, you have to make railroad, you have to fence the project, we have to bring electricity, which is extremely expensive. So if you do those things, you'll find that land becomes cheaper, because as a business person, we factor those costs. So basically, our projects would be cheaper if you are not doing those boreholes, doing those electricity and stuff like that. So the government can actually focus, and I think they have been doing it. That's why you have all these bypasses going all over. Develop those satellite towns, put amenities in them, the land prices will go lower. Number two is the tax component. One of the things that we are not happy about is the capital gain tax, which was increased from 5% to 15%.
Yes.
If you increase those taxes, the person who bears the biggest burden is the end user, the customer, the person who needs to own that affordable home, because those costs has to keep being pushed. The other thing is public-private partnerships. When you have those, because government has a lot of land, and I think they are trying to give it away, you'll find very prime land around the city, which you cannot buy because, of course, it belongs to government and it can be developed.
We are even done with our time. Thank you so much for that. That is Reuben Kimani. He's the CEO, Username Investment Limited, giving us his insights on ownership of land and what you need to do, some of the regulations that you need to go through. All right, we've come to the end of business today. Mbiu KTN is coming up next. Don't go too far.